Hello all, welcome back to another video and welcome to Sammy G's World of Cinema. Today on the channel I am going to be doing a response video to a thread that has just been created by my very good friend Mr. John over at Mondo Chelloveck. Go and check out his channel. He's an absolutely brilliant guy. What a legend John is. He's been singing the praises of a fairly new documentary film called Scala. Really do want to check it out at some point. John did a brilliant review video. Pick like your own Scala theatre and say like what films would you showcase. Music to my ears, because I know the Scala used to show a lot of cult films, bit similar sort of ilk to the wonderful Tyneside Cinema in Newcastle, which by the way guys, I do plan on doing a video at some point devoted to Tyneside Cinema. It is just my favourite cinema ever, and I will be giving a ton of shout outs to the wonderful staff. What films kind of like have a bit of a cult status, and John did pick out some brilliant picks for that video. The first one that I have gone for, which I would show at that like my own like Scala cinema, Welcome to the Dollhouse. Fantastic indie film, which again is kind of like finding its feet again. Got this wonderful restoration from Radiance Films. Todd Solondz is probably most well known for like the film Happiness. This girl who's a little bit shy, a little bit quiet at her school. She gets bullied by a lot of people, hasn't got the best relationships with like her family members either. Her brother has got like his own like band, and there's a guy who's one of the band members. She's starting to fall for him. One of her like school bullies, I think the guy's called Brandon, and this girl sets up her own like clubhouse to like form more friendships. Really great film, guys. If you're ever going to get into Radiance Films, I would definitely check this out. One of those witty sort of like dark comedy sort of pieces that I think would definitely have a place at my own Scala cinema. I would have a double bill of Vampire and Nosferatu from 1922. Both of these films are absolutely incredible. Vampire only clocks in at like 70 minutes. A film that I kind of only discovered a couple of years ago thanks to the guys at Tyneside Cinema. It's about like I think like a doctor, Alan Gray. He goes to like this village, Tamir, I think it is, and he discovers that this plague has just broke out, and the build up to like his discovery of like vampires. He gets like a letter from this other doctor to say like open the letter upon like my death. Cult horror staple, kind of like the director Carl Theodor Dreyer's first ever sound film from 1932. It's silent for a majority of it, but then it also does have like dialogue. It's very atmospheric. It's got such a chilling conclusion to it. Characters study this film and it's just so chilling. It's very dark. Nosferatu, probably my second favourite horror film of all time, my favourite vampire film of all time. I remember I went to like the Pictureville in like Bradford, part of the National Media Museum, and I discovered this film, a trailer, because it got like a new like brand new like restoration at the time from Eureka. I knew, right, I've got to pick this up, and at the time it was like a BFI DVD. Me, my parents and my brother, we just sat down and we all watched it together, and we all just absolutely fell in love with it. Just the music, brooding atmosphere, low budget silent film. What it does and what it brings to the table is just a work of genius from F.W. Murnau. I think Murnau. There are a couple more of his films that are on the label Eureka. My very good friend Warren at Goose's Movies, I'll leave a link in the description. Massive fan of this director. He absolutely knows all things when it comes to Eureka. So Goose's movies, what a legend that guy is. I watch this every year without fail. I just love the whole scope of this. It's the first ever rendition put to screen, taken from the 1897 classic novel Dracula, written by Bram Stoker. Count Orlok and this couple, Hutter and Ellen, and when Hutter goes away on business because he's like an estate agent, and then he rents a room at like this castle. He's in near agreement for his new client to like buy a new house, but then he discovers that his new client is like a vampire, and then when he starts to read the book of like vampires, he slowly discovers that, and then things kind of sort of deteriorate from the get-go. Love to show this in like the Scala cinema along with like Vampire as a double bill. I think I would put this one on first, and then I would go with like Nosferatu like afterwards. Of course, the first actual glimpse I ever got of Nosferatu is in that cameo in like that SpongeBob episode. Great like late night double bill. And Nosferatu does have like a lot of recognition, but this film deserves like a bit more recognition. And you know, if I starred in like a vampire film, it would be Interview with the Vampire. I have seen these as a double bill, but then I haven't, because I saw one on one day with, again, Mr. John over at Mondo Chelloveck and Ryan at Let's Get Kicking Movies. I will leave a link to his channel. We went to see this, John Carpenter's The Thing, and the next day by myself, I went to go and see The Fog. So these were kind of like back-to-back cinema trips. Well, definitive like cult horror really, especially The Fog, which is kind of like my favourite John Carpenter film, but this is not far behind, mind you. The Fog, absolutely amazing. It is a really fantastically atmospheric like horror film, and just again, like with The Thing, just a work of genius from Mr. John Carpenter. If I watched the remake, I'd be like, my God, this director who did that remake didn't have the foggiest idea. The whole setting of this like coastal town. I love Jamie Lee Curtis's character in this. I think at the very start with the music playing, which the score in this is absolutely outstanding. The guy who's telling like of like the 100th anniversary of like Antonio Bay, what appeared in like the fog that night, these sort of mysterious sort of figures lurking in the fog. And I do like Tom Atkins' character in this as well. I do really like the priest in this as well, played by Hal Holbrook. It's just got everything for me, like this film. Final act, it really leaves the film on a abrupt like note as well, but in a great fashion. 35mm print looked absolutely splendid. The Thing could be, for me, the greatest remake of all time. You know, it is very much in the conversation for Video Nasty back in the day. The original version, it was obviously from Howard Hawks from 1951, the Thing from Another Earth. And that is a great film. But I think like most people, guys, I do prefer that the remake here. John Carpenter just absolutely elevated the presentation of that original novel here, you know, where he just ran with his own vision. What he gave us was just an absolute sublime sci-fi horror film that stands like the test of time. Kurt Russell just absolutely dominates in the role as McGreedy. He's just an iconic protagonist. You've got some other like great side characters in there as well, and you know, when they find like this sort of alien form species that's just come to light, and it just like transforms itself into like multiple shapes and forms. It kind of brings the characters at unease with like paranoia. They are aware of what this alien form is like very capable of, hidden out in like the Antarctic for like just thousands of years. I love the way that the film opens with the helicopter, and then you've got like the wolf as well, and then you've got the music by Ennio Ennio Morricone, just absolute sheer brilliance. It is just like a match made in heaven, these two, like putting both of these films like together. I would show The Thing first, and then afterwards I would show The Fog as like a John Carpenter double bill at the Scala. John Carpenter is just an absolute master at his craft when it comes to horror. He knows the ins and outs of the horror genre. I'm going to give a bit of a shout out as well, guys, to Keith at Euphoria Pictures, because I know Keith is a massive John Carpenter fan. Let me know in the comments, actually, guys, which one of these do you prefer? I think I might slightly edge it to the Fog, but my goodness, The Thing is not far behind. I had to go with a David Cronenberg film, so I went with Scanners, possibly one of my favourite David Cronenberg films. Again, I kind of like that it does something a bit different with like the sci-fi genre. Scanners did get a couple of sequels after this. I haven't checked out the sequels to this, films of the body horror like subgenre. He was an absolute master of that genre, you know, like a bit of a founding father of that genre as well. He's a video nasty as well, if I'm not mistaken. Love like sort of the rivalry and the cat and mouse chase as well between like both of these like scanner figures, which one in this like units in this corporation, and he's been informed by this doctor that he is like one of the scanners, and he's got like a telepathic mind vision, rivaling off with one of like the other scanners. I believe it's Daryl Rivok, who is like the like antagonist. Really cool, guys. It's kind of it does remind me a little bit of Blade Runner to some extent as well. Antagonist and protagonist are chasing each other, and they end up like in like a super mall as well. There's a record shop as well where I noticed in the background they had XTCs, drums and wires, which Tyneside did showcase this a couple of years ago when they were doing David Cronenberg season, but I didn't get a chance to go, unfortunately. Scanners at the Scala, it's got a bit of a good ring to it. Second to last one, Batman Forever. The reason why I've picked this is finding its feet in terms of like a bit of a cult status now. I think, again, time has been a lot kinder towards this film than, say, back in the day. It's got its detractors still to this day, and I can see why. I don't think this is a great film. It is an absolute ball of a film. It is a fun popcorn flick. Take Batman Forever for what it is. I just think it is a very self-aware superhero film. Loads of energy to it. There is some really silly moments and very fun action sequences as well. I know not everyone is a fan of like Two-Face portrayed by Tommy Lee Jones. I actually don't mind Two-Face in this. Tommy Lee Jones did a pretty decent job. I do really like Jim Carrey as the Riddler. You could tell he was having such a fun time, and those actors, I believe, hated each other at the time, and especially whilst making this. I think their chemistry is just off the charts. Robin, I don't really like as a character. When Two-Face and his alliance like came in and caused disruption there, had a real knock-on effect with like Robin. I kind of felt for his character for what he went through. The guy that is Robin, I don't particularly, I just don't think he comes across as a very likable person. However, he has got a couple of really funny moments. One standout scene where he kind of like teams up with Alfred, and then Alfred just lets him, unwilling just to have like the Batmobile. And do you know what? I thought Val Kilmer did a pretty decent job as Batman as well. For me, he's no Michael Keaton, of course, but I think he did a pretty solid job. I didn't mind George Clooney. I thought he was okay. I think Val Kilmer did the better job in terms of like Bruce Wayne and Batman as well. And yeah, this film just pays a bit of a nod to like the 60s cheesy, campy side of Batman. I think it's a good film to maybe get like a couple of drinks in and have a few friends around. James JT at the movies, link to his channel, but also his review of Batman Forever. He's got a fantastic channel, very fun movie, and I've just got a bit of a soft spot for it. It'd be nice to see this get like a 20th anniversary screening, like a good Friday night viewing. Enjoy sort of like the silliness and wackiness that this film has to bring to the table. Joel Schumacher had his own double bill with this, and then the infamous Batman and Robin a couple of years later, which I actually don't mind. The last one I'm going to show, Andrei Tarkovsky's Mirror. Now, this is a film I didn't actually particularly gel with the first time I watched it. I thought it was all right. Perplexing and just a little bit on the nose, really, for my liking. Came to really respect and admire this film on subsequent viewings. I've watched this a few times, and this is absolutely fantastic. It is just such a beautifully crafted film. This is loosely based on like Tarkovsky's childhood. It meshes so many things together. Like, really just mesmerized by like the visionary and imagery that's gone into this film. Very perplexing, complex, ethereal and immersive, so bit of a non-linear choreography. Something about it, it's like no other film to compare to, apart from maybe The Tree of Life. This young lad, like when he's, I think it was him and his twin brother at this farmhouse with their mother, and then it's kind of about how I think it's like his mother working for like this printer company. You're focusing on him, the version of him, and like about his ex-wife, spending time with his son post-war time. You go back to like pre-war time when this guy, like I think in his teens and training in like the Second World War. The music by Edward Artemiev is just absolutely stunning. It's spellbinding stuff. Nature, like quiet feel to it, uses sort of like real footage as well. A couple of quite sort of like zombie moments to it as well, especially like building up to that ending, which is it's a little bit bittersweet there. Again, Tarkovsky is one of the most well-acclaimed directors in general. I think he's one of the most, I think he's gonna be up there with one of the most popular filmmakers in world cinema, and for good reason. Thinking about down the line doing a ranking of all 7 of Andrei Tarkovsky's feature-length films there. And also, talking of Mirror, I will see if I can find a link to film blogger Sam. I know this is like his second favourite film of all time, so a bit of a shout out to film blogger Sam there. I just think this would be a fantastic choice, but I could have gone with a couple of his others, but I did chose this one. I hope you liked some of the picks there, John, and what a great like threads that you started there. I hope that there may be more people that might jump on that bandwagon. Let me know your thoughts on my choices there, guys. Thank you again for all the likes, the comments, and if you have subscribed, thank you. I really do appreciate it. It means the absolute world to me. So thanks for watching. Cheers for stopping by. And until next time, I'll see you for the next video. Bye-bye.